Call to order this meeting of the Bloomington Commission on Sustainability, Wednesday, May 22nd at 7:18 p.m. Will the acting secretary please call roll?
Yes, Alex Hakes, Justin Vassell, present. Matt Austin.
Present.
John Eldon.
Present.
Dave Rollo.
Here.
Jessica Davis. Jamie Scholl.
Here.
Hannah Gregory. Caitlin Edwards.
Here.
Dennis Vera. David Maynor.
Here.
Andrew Gunther.
Here.
Okay, so
Thank you.
we have quorum.
Moving on to the approval of agenda, I would like to move that we move the voting up to the call after the approval of minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Activities are suspended. I'm sorry, the elections are fast-tracked. Do we have the approval of minutes? Is everybody able to review and see the minutes from February 13th? Are there any amendments or adjustments? The approval of minutes is accepted. Public comment. Is there any public comment? There is no public comment.
Thanks for coming.
So we will move on to officer elections. First, for the role of chair, and thank you for Justin for sending out the duties and roles to everybody. Do I hear any nominations for the position of chair?
I'll nominate myself.
I second that nomination. Shall we have a voice vote? Acting Secretary, please call a voice vote for
Okay.
the role of chair.
Okay.
Need a second.
No, we got it.
it.
Oh, you did.
The motion's been seconded.
Oh, gotcha. Good for roll call votes
Yes.
then? Okay. Okay, so this is to elect Justin Vassell, me, as chair. Are there any other nominations? Okay. Alex Hakes is not here. Justin Vassell, I'll vote yes. Matt Austin,
Yes.
John Eldon.
Yes.
Oh, and you have to have
You have
video on
got
I
the
think,
camera.
as well.
There you are.
How's it?
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Dave Rollo,
Yes.
Jamie Scholl,
Yes.
Caitlin Edwards,
Yes.
David Maynor,
Yes.
and Andrew Gunther.
Yes.
Okay.
Next is, are there any nominations for the position? Oh, I'm sorry. Justin Vassell is now elected unanimously as chair.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Moving on to vice chair. Are there any nominations for the position of vice chair?
I'll nominate myself.
Andrew Gunther is
Second.
nominated for vice chair. Shall we call a voice vote?
Yes. Yeah, is that you? Justin Vassell, I'll vote yes. Matt Austin,
Yes.
John Eldon,
Yes.
Dave Rollo,
Yes.
Jamie Scholl,
Yes.
Caitlin Edwards,
Yes.
David Maynor,
Yes.
Andrew Gunther. Yes. Yeses have it.
Close vote.
I know, right?
Congratulations. Andrew Gunther has been elected as vice chair unanimously. Are there any nominations for the position of secretary?
It was a good typing time.
Then I would move that we suspend the position of secretary until the next meeting.
To postpone the
Yeah,
the
the
vote.
election
The
for-
election.
yeah.
Okay.
I would
Um,
volunteer to undertake the duties until it's filled.
Thank you.
by someone else.
Excellent.
Acting secretary will be Andrew Gunther. Are there any nominations for the position of
You have to vote on, well, if you're gonna postpone it to the next.
Oh,
meeting,
sorry, yeah,
you have
you're
to
right,
vote.
you're right. We need a majority vote for the
Postpone.
postponement.
Yeah, if we have no nominations, do we have to vote on that? Because it just,
Yeah,
Kind of by
because we're
default.
still voting.
You could just vote fail, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just
But-
procedurally,
yeah.
a motion was put on the
Yeah, you're
table
right.
to postpone to the next meeting.
But we just
Yeah.
need a majority vote, so can I just hear all the ayes for postponing the election of secretary?
Aye.
Aye.
Majority ruled aye. We will postpone the vote for secretary until the next official meeting.
I think we lost John, if you want to note that.
Yes, we did. Thank you.
All right. Are there any nominations for the position of treasurer? Hearing no nominations, I move that we postpone the election of treasurer until the next official meeting.
Second.
Thank you.
John's
Can
not
I,
in the waiting room.
Oh, there he is.
By a voice vote?
I'm gonna ask him.
Yeah.
Is he there?
There it is.
Hey, John, do you have any nominations for the position of treasurer?
Oh, and he's still connected. There
May
we go.
not have heard you.
Hey, John, do you have any nominations for the position of treasurer?
No.
Thank you. And then, can we have a majority voice vote, or all the ayes for postponing the election for the position of treasurer until the next official meeting? Aye.
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 The election for treasurer is postponed. That concludes our officer elections for this meeting. We will continue with the regularly scheduled agenda. The report from acting chair, I just want to welcome the two new members to join our little group. So if you would please introduce yourself, tell us your background and what brought you to the commission. Who would like to go first?
Okay.
You go.
Okay. My name is Andrew Gunther. Nice to meet you all. I'm the appointee by the county commissioners. I previously served as chair of the City Environmental Commission. Now I'm chair of the County Environmental Commission. I'm happy to be here. I'm currently a law student and MPA student at O'Neill and Maurer. Graduate in 2 years, focusing on environmental administrative law. Glad to be here.
Thank you, Andrew. Jamie Scholl.
My name is Jamie Scholl. Never know what to say in these situations. Currently, health and wellness coach focused on culinary medicine. I've had a long history in urban agriculture in Bloomington, from passing the first urban agriculture amendment, which was, I think, back in 2009, and then working on modification to the chicken ordinance after. Helped start, was a founding member of the Community Orchard, as well as the Food Policy Council, which I served on for a number of years, off and on in different roles. Currently here. And I am a grower as well, and yeah, coach and grower, gardener. So I've done all kinds of things in that realm.
Fantastic.
Nice to be here.
Did you have a program that you wanted to discuss?
I don't know if this was a few things for discussion later on. I can bring them up now if,
No, I mean, yeah, we can wait till discussions, resolutions. John Allen also has something, and I think our working groups will be short, so I think that'll work out just fine.
okay.
Thank you. Jamie? I have no other business for that, for the report from acting chair, so we will move on to the report from the staff liaison.
Okay, thank you.
So I have a lot on the list, and I can shorten this, seeing that we only have a half an hour left, or what do you think? Are the groups going to be talking very much, or what do you think?
Would you like them to go first, and then you could?
Yeah,
go if
that's
there's
fine. They can go
available
first, yeah.
time? All right. Can I get a majority vote for tabling the report from the staff liaison until the end of the
Working group
discussions, not resolutions?
Yes, I'll second that.
All right, can we have a majority vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Sean. So we will move on to report from the council ex officio. Dave Rolo, the floor is yours.
Well, that would be me. Well, I guess perhaps at the next meeting, I would like to have the commission weigh in on urban bees, because it's actually several areas of the city have beehives right now, and one area, one property, which is probably only 1/10 of an acre, has bees proximate to people, and they can't go into the backyard, actually. So it's kind of problematic, and so I'm being asked to sort of resolve this and write some code, but I want to err on the side of, the pollinators and the ability for people to, to do urban agriculture. So perhaps we can maybe next time talk about comparative city codes. Sean, maybe you and I should talk a little bit about that. Stephen Lucas, council attorney, is looking into various codes. Minneapolis has a code that we could mirror. So I think that that would be really good. Yeah, just to finish up, besides the code revisions that I think that that this commission could really inform on, there's also the matter of, and I know Sean's on top of this for us, the sustainability action plan, which we need to keep on track. And so this commission could be very good about informing us about what priorities they feel are necessary in terms of keeping us up to date on that. Council's got a lot of things going on, and it would be great to have that informed opinion from this group. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. We will move on to the reports from the commissioners. Community outreach.
No report for this time, but now that we're back to sort of a functioning state at the moment, we'll be picking up the thread on that again, and trying to take it even further through the chairship position. So, yeah, more next time.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Waste management.
We are supporting or we're watching a residence that is meeting with the Climate Action and Resilience Committee, the City Council, and they are working on being able to hold training sessions on bokashi, so dealing with food waste on a hyper-local level. And so we're interested to see how that meeting with the committee goes, and that would lead to code changes to allow educational training in a residential zone. So that's part of what Garden Quest came in and talked about. So that's happening next Tuesday. So I'll have more to report on that, because that's going to be important to train individual residences on how to take care of their food waste on the property and it never leave the property.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We look forward to it. And hopefully we'll be able to have your speaker come next time and give us our presentation. So.
Yeah. Oh, and I guess the update on the grant that BCause gave, They are collecting with TerraCycle. They have 8 or 9 different boxes, and those are getting filled up by neighbors. There's been educational sessions on that, and they bought the boxes on Earth Day to maximize the funds, as she said that she would. So that is going well so far.
Great.
Yeah. As an update to you.
Thank you, yes.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to Just Transition.
Just a follow-up to that.
Mhm.
I know we discussed grant award winners potentially having to report back to
Mhm.
the commission. Was that a report? Was
That
the
was
report?
just an update.
Okay, okay.
That is not-
I'm
that is not
not,
the
that's
full
not at you,
report.
that's a question for the
Yes.
whole body, like, cause to me that's a report, but, just understanding where we're at there. Okay, Just Transitions, which, for the new members, that's sort of the social and economic, section of BCOS historically, that's kind of focused on, just transitioning. So transitioning to a sustainable city model in a just way, a socially equitable way. Until recently, we were comprised of 3 members. One was not reappointed in January, and the other member has been non-communicative with me via email, phone calls. I haven't been able to reach her. So some of our recent work has included inviting like the Indiana Geological Survey to figure out more about fossil fuels and fossil fuel storage in our area, which was quite insightful. We invited the community land trust in to talk about sustainable housing that's going up here locally and how to deal with the low income, more sustainability stuff. And then most recently we connected with Ecologic, which is a local sort of nonprofit who does ecological studies. And one of the ideas we were toying around with for the grant money prior to the working group kind of becoming disillusioned was doing a water study in Switchyard Park. So comparing and measuring how much human waste is in that water, and figuring out if there's something the city could do, either short-term or long-term, to provide facilities in those areas, or, cost analysis for what would it take to have a porta-john, would the maintenance be worth it? How much human waste are we diverting from our waterways by doing a choice, making a choice like that? So that was some of the stuff we talked about with Ecologic, and they were really excited to talk with us further about what kind of stuff that would take. So if any of the new members have interest, let me know. Just Transitions existed prior to me joining the committee, and I'm interested in the social and economic part of sustainability, so I kind of joined up there. However, the founding member of that working group has departed from this commission. So one order of new business, which I think would be great once we have some new seats filled, would be talking about reimagining the Just Transitions working group, maybe to have a more inclusive and descriptive title, and refining and refocusing the work. So again, a lot of what we did last year was networking and figuring out where does Just Transitions fit in. I'm really excited to hear about the B policy coming across our table, because I think even the working groups we have in place saying, okay, next week, all of us are gonna bring from our own working group perspective feedback on B policies. So for example, sustainability-wise, or social equity-wise, I'm thinking, I don't want to penalize somebody who just has a smaller yard but wants to be sustainable and have a pollinator habitat. So I understand the concern with, well, it's such a small yard that it's causing undue stress on the neighbors and unintentional harm. But, bringing some of that feedback as well, it would be something that I'd be happy to do before the next meeting. Look into any sort of programs that would kind of touch the intersection of social equity and sustainability. So anyways, a little long-winded, but if anybody wants to join up, feel free. One other order, this is not necessarily a Just Transitions announcement, so maybe I'll just wait till new business.
Sure.
Or just throw it out there. Okay, I'm moving out of Bloomington at the end of the summer. So if you'd like to make sure that the council knows that my seat will be up for re-election at the end of the summer. But I'm happy to serve at my full capacity and make sure that the work that Just Transitions put in is there for the next people who want to pick it up.
So do you think your last meeting will be in July?
Yes, last meeting would be probably, well, actually, I could probably make it to the August meeting, because it's the second Tuesday of the month, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah,
August.
August is fine, yeah.
Okay, good to know, thank you.
Well, congratulations on your
Thank
your
you,
invention,
thank
and,
you. I'll be
yeah,
working with
absolutely.
the city of Indianapolis.
Oh,
So,
nice.
you ever,
Fantastic.
if there's any across the, city line, county line collaboration we can do, or, again, policy is something that I love, so bringing the beat policy here, if there's any co-collaboration policy-wise across different counties or municipalities, I'd love to still talk to y'all. So I'm really appreciative of meeting you all, and a lot of what I think, especially the most recent crew, what we've been through is really muddling through all of those bylaws and all that sticky, gross language. So I appreciate all of you doing that with me. It's frustrating work sometimes. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Could I ask a question real quick?
Sure.
Yeah? Okay, thanks for that, that list of priorities. I was interested in the E. coli, or, enteric bacteria in Switchard Park, and am I correct in assuming, what's the source of that? Is that from potentially the unhoused communities?
That was kind of what our Just Transitions Working Group was kind of itching at. So Ecologic is the community partner consultant nonprofit. Well, they're actually a for-profit company. I shouldn't call them nonprofit, but they work in the for-profit space. They're called Ecologic. And so as we found out about the grant money last year, we were kind of looking through what ideas would promote both priorities of our commission, so the sustainability aspect, but then also that social equity. And yes, we were looking at that human waste. We also looked at projects for cleaning up the area. There were a lot of barriers to entry with regards to safety, as far as like trying to get volunteer groups to clean up Switchyard Park. So that's some of the other work that Just Transitions has been interested in. So.
I see. So the issue is lack of latrines, essentially.
Correct.
For people to use that would be accessible.
Correct.
Okay.
And so
Okay,
Ecologic could be a consultant to come in and actually, let's say
Yeah.
measure whatever bacterium is in the waterway, and then, they have cleared out some encampments. Now they do another measurement weeks later to kind of compare and contrast. Adding a porta-john there and then measuring how much human waste is diverted was a very exciting project, which that they could do. But there's maintenance and there's a lot of labor that goes into planning that, monitoring it, and collecting the data. So big project, but
Yeah. No, it's very, very good, very interesting. Thank you for bringing that up. Appreciate that.
And for the new members, I just wanted to let you know that, so there's $10,000 that's allocated for DECOS. So if any of the working groups want to start a project in the community, install a raised garden bed or, rain garden, or if they want to host a workshop and invite the community and you need funding for that, there's funding available. And there's a whole process that you would need to go through to get approved. So.
10,000 total with a max of $1,000 per.
Yeah.
And it cycles at the end of the year, so if there's an application now, it'd be prudent to get it in as soon as possible because it cycles in December, is that correct?
So if we want to encumber the funds, we would at least need to have the grant proposal, the grant agreement in place and approved, and the funds encumbered to roll over into 2025
By when?
by the end of December.
But just to be aware, because we got in a sticky situation last year, there's a minimum of 2 meetings to approve any sort of thing. Plus, there's a staff approval process that's supposed to happen prior to that. So this is a
You really want to get it
stepped
by the
process.
third quarter, by the end of third
Is
quarter.
that the
So,
entirety
thank you
of
for
the
mentioning that.
approval process, staff and then us?
And at city
Staff
council,
and us, the
depending on,
council.
does it go to city council
It does
for?
go to
Oh,
city
it's
So
10,000.
we're the last stop?
Well, the city council approves my budget, but
Oh, I see.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're the last stop though, right?
right.
There's nothing else we have to do
So
after
you
we
would,
vote.
and I
on
can
that.
share the whole procedure.
I'm
with you.
worried
It's all
that by the
written.
time the new members join, we're gonna be in the same situation
Yeah.
as we were last year.
No, you won't be here, so.
Well, I know, but I'll be thinking about you from far away. I'll be like, I hope they got to use that money.
I'll share the procedures with you, and then you can read through them, and then if you have questions, we can
Okay.
go
Yeah,
through
That
them.
would be appreciated, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, is there a set or estimated schedule for processing an application already in place? So if somebody came with an idea, let's go
Right.
through here.
That's
for
a
2
document
meetings.
that you would send out.
Yes.
Yeah, I
And
think
then-
that, I haven't read the procedures lately, but I think you would send it to me first. I would make sure that it's something that's appropriate and that it's something that I feel comfortable funding.
You're not building a baseball.
You're
stadium.
not, right, it's nothing to do with sustainability, so I just review it and give pre-approval, and then you would vote on it during one meeting, and then the full
Second vote.
approval the second.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
A general question about working groups, we don't have to discuss on how it's not, unless anyone really wants to, but just thinking about, are there things we want to work on that aren't served by these working groups well? And if so, should we add new ones, remove old ones, alter them? And that's something we can discuss at future meetings.
I think
But just something to keep in your
Yeah.
mind.
The
Yeah,
short
no,
answer is, yes, we probably want to rethink
Yeah.
completely how we're doing that.
Yeah.
In order to
It'd be great if everyone came to the
incorporate
next
some
meeting
of
with an
those
idea,
Yeah,
or an
yeah.
opinion at
Yep.
least formed
Right.
for the conversation to,
Oh, the meeting after that, because we'll have 3 new members.
there you go.
So,
Okay.
but yeah, no, that's actually something we discussed in the past is it goes along with what we were talking about before with how we function
Yeah.
as the
Right.
commission.
We change ours at the EC every year, depending on what we want to work on. that year.
Right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course.
All right, we'll move on to discussions, not resolutions.
Are we coming back to the,
We'll come back to Sean.
to the report from?
I thought we
Or was that-
voted to do that after.
He did say
After.
discussions at. not
John has it
resolutions.
and
Right.
Jamie has one.
Okay.
Okay.
John, do you want to introduce us to the Sustainability Assessment Working Group?
Yeah, so I'm developing a new course at IU called Sustainability Assessment. Basic idea is starting from the organizations and what sort of things are they trying to do to assess their sustainability, and then I'll have students work through some case studies and such. And my thought is to incorporate this in the city as much as possible, basically find local businesses and whatnot and say, okay, what are you trying to do? What are your options? How do you actually do it? And then have students work through those kind of real world examples. So energy efficiency, water use efficiency, food waste management, that sort of thing. I was talking to a coffee roaster this morning. They were curious about kind of like sourcing. So there's fair trade, there's also middlemen that make claims, there's organic labels and certifications. How do they stack up? How do you evaluate them? How do you use them? My thought was to basically try to get some continuity beyond the one class. We could integrate that with the working group, or create a working group such that the class is then integrated with VCODs, and in doing so is kind of partnering with city organizations and restaurants and whatever else, right? And the goal would then be to come up with something and be like, if you are a homeowner and you wanted to do an energy efficiency, here are the sorts of things you might use, right? Here's kind of the pros and cons, here's maybe a student evaluation, a little white paper on water use and energy use and whatnot. And that might also help with getting people towards some of these sustainable neighborhoods grants. So if you could say, okay, these homeowners who identify this issue, and $1,000 could go, potentially go a long way for that. So that's kind of my thought, trying to figure out how to do it. One idea I had would be to start a new working group focused on that, and just kind of use that as a point of contact. So open to thoughts, any ideas, anything at all.
Do you think that there's any application towards property taxes for somebody that scores very high on the sustainability meter?
I have no idea. I
If
don't know
somebody's
about property tax.
provided their own
I-
electricity, have bees or chickens or something that they're
They're reducing their waste, they're
reducing
reducing
their
their impact.
consumption,
Yep.
that it would make either the property be valued more, but the taxes be less because they're utilizing less of the resources.
In terms of incentivizing that sort of behavior,
Yeah.
that's what you mean. Sounds good to me, but I don't know anything about the property tax code.
I have an idea, and I've been thinking about this, John. We have a Zero in Bloomington dashboard. It's an online dashboard where groups can enter in all of their climate actions, and there's a way to compete with other either households or other groups.
We did that a couple years ago.
Yeah. So we've been trying to think of ways to get people to use that dashboard, and we have funding for incentives. So we have a Zero in Bloomington Group Challenge funding. And so I was thinking if you have within your cohort of small businesses, if they can put their climate actions on the dashboard and compete with each other, whoever wins the challenge, we could offer, several $1,000s as an incentive for them to become more sustainable. So I think
Sounds good to me.
there needs to be some sort of incentive. I mean, there is the incentive of lowering operating costs, but to have something on top of that, I think might get people to.
There's also some certification programs. There's some green restaurant thing I saw somewhere the other day.
Oh, there is?
And so another form of incentive would be helping businesses, achieve those certifications, and then they get the sticker to put on the door, that sort of thing.
Oh, great. Is that,
They're like, here's, as a restaurant, here are the types of certifications you might get. Here's how you get them. Here's the resources. Here's what, we think of the benefits of this one versus that one. But yeah, I think having some sort of competition, that's great. Could you send me the information on that Zero dashboard?
yeah.
And that opens up a lot of opportunities for things like with the food waste reduction. That's another credit that people could be getting because they're contributing less to the landfills. Maybe if they're locally farming and they're giving or donating their excess to the shelters or even to selling it to restaurants, anything that reduces external consumption from the city, I think there's a case to be made that should be incentivized financially via property tax or something else, or via credit or a rebate or some sort of contribution towards the measurement. So, yeah, that's awesome. That's a really good idea. Thank you.
What would be? Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I wondered if there are examples of the communities that do that incentivize in terms of taxation. Because, I'm a big believer in show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome. So it's, it's intriguing.
Yeah.
And some of this stuff is, if we can identify these questions, it's something I can work into the course structure. But my hope is that from the course, we can then say, here are questions at the end of it. Here are businesses with additional stuff. Develop kind of a list of, honor season projects and internship possibilities and things. So kind of help kind of tie student energy into some of the stuff going on in the city.
Yes.
So
That makes sense.
specifically to that, the BCOS grant for Garden Quest, they're doing all the TerraCycle pilots for. The family that's hosting that specifically reduced their trash size from the large to the medium, so they're already cutting their costs on their trash.
Yeah.
Right, on that cost, so.
If companies can benefit from
Right.
tax breaks for doing these same kind of efficiency and sustainability measures, why shouldn't the individual or the homeowner be able to collect on the same kind of benefits? Yeah. There's
definitely a lot of
yeah.
opportunity, but as Dave said, you need to incentivize people to
Yeah.
do it.
That's why solar is taking off, is because people saw lower energy bills. So,
Yep. How would I actually go about starting a working group? Is that something that makes a proposal we vote on, or is it kind of just
I don't-
informal?
I would just recommend holding off until we figure out how we're going to function.
Yeah. Or even
what the
the-
mechanisms will be.
And we do want to move on to Jamie. 'cause
Yes,
she has
yes.
issues as well.
I was just gonna say, whatever work you want to start, you can probably get started, right? And if you want the commission to help with things, you can email us or talk at the next meeting or whatever. Even if there's not like a formal structure in place at the moment, I think everyone's thinks it's a good idea at least, so
Yeah, I think
you'll probably get support, yeah.
It's probably better to do it in an unstructured or informal way, so that when we bring it in, I mean, like, a working group can come and go or change, but, you know, like we were talking about before, bringing in external things and then making decisions or recommendations here, instead of making a working group and taking on the project ourselves. But yeah, we could discuss it at the next meeting.
Well, one reason why I ask is because there's funding available to working groups. I'd love to like hire a student for $500 to go survey a bunch of businesses or something like that. So are there formalities to access the funds for the working groups?
I mean, I think we could just apply it to an initiative, right? Even if it doesn't have a formal working group, we could say, here's a project that the commission is working on, and we want money to go to that, and fill out the application accordingly. Yeah.
That would be appropriate to me. That's in alignment with sustainability, so I wouldn't have any problem with that.
Yeah, and that'd be perfect how we function. Somebody brings an idea, we vote on it, vote on allocating money, and if it gets approved, then we're good to go. There's no working group, but it's an activity that we're still supporting and encouraging.
Typically, the working groups have projects that are working in the more long-term, and, you know, something like that initiative is just a short-term project. You know, you would need to assemble a whole working group for something that's, you know, more of a short term, but if it needs more long-term management, or, for example, waste management, there's many different projects that happen within that one initiative or overarching mission or vision. Same with Just Transition, same with community outreach.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I do want to allow Jamie to bring on her discussion point.
Great, thank you. I've been thinking a fair amount about the Sudbury development, and I haven't had a chance to go back and listen to the meeting, although I did attend a lot of it live remotely. And I tend to remember that there was something mentioned about, I think, the environmental working, or the environmental commission overlooking and giving questions. I don't know if BCOS also did that, and if not, then perhaps we could do that. And since my area is in regards to food, some of it to land use, but could we set up some criteria for, is there space that would be willing to be dedicated for not just a school or a fire department, but maybe another farm stop? There will be 11,000 people in that location, not just a farm stop for another added benefit for those who can't or don't want to or don't have time to purchase local, but also community gardens, so that people, maybe it's size the garden to the size of the development. If that's going to be a single building, then that could be rooftop gardens, or maybe extended balconies where someone could actually grow things on, so that we have both food sovereignty and food security, because whenever we have that, it's both of those things. We have the household, the community, and then the larger area that supports more in economic downturns, to have that money kept locally. So that's one thing. I'd love to see a farm stop in every neighborhood. That would reduce the amount of transportation anyone needs to take. It'd also be much more convenient for those who may have difficulties in mobility as well. So that, I'll do that. We have a lot of HOAs. With, they use the boilerplate, and it's a nonprofit, three board members, chair, secretary, treasurer, and a lot of times people want to grow gardens or edibles, and it's a boilerplate that says that they cannot do that. Renwick is an example. That we could set forth some criteria and maybe see if whatever mechanism in the city would change that, and we could then have a listing of plants that could be used for edible landscaping or for food production, or some kind of criteria for the design of those areas so that it's more acceptable and people can have that also sustainable. I know the same thing for like clotheslines. Sometimes people don't have the ability to put these things in their backyard. There's too much shade, it's too wet. There's all kinds of factors to consider. And then also think about fencing and deer issues. That is an ongoing issue. We have so many more ticks this year. I've had so many, and it's in my yard. And granted, I'm south of Deer Park. However, I've never had this many. And I'm not getting them out in the field. I'm not getting them out in hiking in Deem or anywhere else, typically, maybe one or two, but it's in the yards that I work in, including my own, that I'm getting these ticks. That's a concern. So I think that's kind of wraps it up. I don't know how much in regards to the planning department we can, make some suggestions. So whenever we're talking about rather than project-based, I'm thinking about overall of how can we make change and effect in the city. And in regards, top of my head, this one's not written down here. In regards to HOAs, have a way for those communities to modify their current restrictions, whether it's Park Ridge East, or something like that, because that is a legal issue, so that we can have something boilerplate and already ready should those, so that's legal. Those neighborhood associations would be able to change and become more sustainable in that way. So that's my ideas. So thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Appreciate this. It's great ideas. Sean, I'm sorry, do you mind if we postpone yours until next meeting?
If I could just make a pitch for some help with some projects. So I would like for more people to be visiting our climate action dashboard that we just launched. It's very thorough. It explains everything that we've been doing to implement our climate action plan. And so if you want to learn more about not only what the city is doing, but what you can do yourself to become more sustainable, I could pass these around. This is the QR code to the dashboard. So if you can tell people in your circles about the dashboard and have them visit it, it's very educational, and we're just really proud of it. And so we'll be updating that as time moves on, updating it with new projects and things that we're doing. The second thing I need help with is we've been selected by NOAA to map our urban heat island this summer. And so I'm looking for volunteers to help. The campaign will be between July 26th and August 8th. It just depends on the weather. We'll have one hot day where we have volunteers putting sensors on their vehicles and driving around predetermined routes. And so I will need a lot of help with that. So I've got flyers if you can spread the word about that. We have about 14 people.
Sorry. You were about to say that.
So it depends on how many volunteers I can commit to helping, because the more volunteers, the more routes that we can drive.
Okay.
So they've
Is
told
there a
us that we
target?
should estimate, I should try to get at least 50 people.
Okay.
So we need one driver and one navigator for each route, and then one person as a backup in case those two people can't show up.
Okay.
So,
Okay, I'm sorry, we are over
Okay.
time.
Okay.
We'll
Okay.
pick it up next meeting.
Yeah.
All right.
But do you have print
Can I
materials you want us to
have
Lots
hang?
of flyers.
Vote for
other
adjournment,
things.
please. Voice vote majority.
Yep.
Move to adjourn.
Aye.
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 All right.
This meeting is adjourned. The next meeting will be June 11th at 6 p.m. Thank you.